From the Green Mountains of central Vermont, this is the Friday News Dump. It's Friday, December 6, 2013, with your hosts, Greg Crawford and Francis Goodwin. It's Deborah Goodwin behind the camera. Take it away, Tad.
Thanks, dear. U.S. stocks rose today. A stronger than expected payrolls report gave traders confidence that the economy could be healthy enough to withstand a scaling back of Federal Reserve stimulus. The S&P 500 rose 20 points to 1,605, its best day in nearly a month. The index marked a ninth consecutive week of gains despite ending lower in recent days. The Dow rose 198 points today to 16,020. Non-farm payrolls added 203,000 in November, exceeding the forecast, and the U.S. unemployment rate fell to a 5-year low of 7%. The Labor Department's report raised the prospects that the Fed will begin to taper its stimulus program sooner rather than later. Economic data for the fourth quarter so far has been mixed, with indicators for the labor market and consumer spending showing strength, but the housing market and business spending faltering.
Nobel Prize winner, anti-apartheid activist, and former South African President Nelson Mandela died yesterday at age 95. Presidents and potentates will pontificate, the world will mourn, and the people of Earth will not likely see so great a man again anytime soon. But we can keep his memory alive by trying to live our lives a little more like Mr. Mandela did, and by so doing, perhaps leave the world a better place than we found it. Farewell, Madiba.
Researchers at Albert Einstein College of Medicine at Yeshiva University in New York City said Tuesday that they may have found a cure for one of the world's deadliest diseases. They've discovered that a modified version of leukemia treatment, radioimmunotherapy, can kill latent HIV cells.
6 people were killed on Saturday in Lebanon's northern city of Tripoli in exchanges of fire between neighborhoods that support rival sides in the Syrian war.
Syrian army helicopters bombarded the northern rebel-held town of al-Bab for a second day Sunday, killing 20 people.
A rocket attack on Wednesday on government-held areas of the Syrian city of Aleppo killed 18 people, including a number of civilians.
Anti-government protests Sunday in Thailand prompted Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra to flee to a secret location. A pro-Thai government protester was killed. Thai police said Tuesday that they would not resist protesters seizing the Bangkok police headquarters.
A suicide bombing on Sunday at a funeral in Baqaba, Iraq, killed at least 17 people. Iraqi security forces stormed the Jawahir Mall in Kirkuk on Wednesday after armed gunmen seized hostages. Militants in Kirkuk, Iraq, attacked a mall and police headquarters yesterday, killing 10 people and injuring another 70.
100,000 people in the Ukraine continued their protests Sunday against a decision by President Yanukovych to back away from stronger ties with the European Union.
Casualties were reported Sunday after clashes between protesters and police in Kiev. Protesters stormed the Kiev City Council buildings.
A mass grave was discovered Wednesday in northern Mali holding the remains of 21 loyalist soldiers said to have gone missing last year during a coup in the country.
The United States said Wednesday it is stopping shipping of supplies to Afghanistan through Pakistan due to protests over drone attacks.
Royal Marine Sergeant Alexander Blackman was given a life sentence by a court-martial today for the murder of an unarmed insurgent.
13 people were killed on Wednesday as a result of targeted shootings in Pakistan's biggest city of Karachi.
A train derailed Wednesday in the Bangladesh district of Ghiabanda as a result of sabotage, resulting in at least 3 deaths. More than 60 people have been killed since an opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party announced a campaign against next month's election.
A Hezbollah official was assassinated on Wednesday outside his home in Hadath, south of the Lebanese capital of Beirut, with Hezbollah blaming Israel.
Of course.
Unidentified militants attacked the Defense Ministry compound in Sana'a, Yemen yesterday, killing at least 52 people and injuring 167. Most of the victims appear to be doctors and nurses who were working at a hospital within the property. That's sad.
That's terrible.
That's insane.
The news is really bad this Friday. Really bad news.
It goes on and on.
Particularly bad.
Well, how bad is it?
War, death, destruction.
It's like this every week, it seems, more or less. Some days seem worse than others, but on the whole, every week seems to have a lot of it.
Yep.
It's a harsh world.
Am I reading?
It is your baby.
The Yemeni Defense Ministry says it regained control of the military compound today, killing 11 militants in the process.
And in the never-ending battle to determine whose God is the most vicious, bloodthirsty psychopath, Christian vigilantes in the Central African Republic slaughtered 8 people and injured 65 more, 20 of them severely, near the capital of Bangui. Several children and a pregnant woman were among the victims, who were members of a Muslim minority Pule people, a tribe of pastoral herders with no connection to the radical Muslim Seleka rebels who staged a coup back in March of this year. The Selekas have since disbanded, but former rebels continue to terrorize defenseless villages, killing anyone who does not escape.
The United Nations yesterday approved the creation of a peacekeeping mission in the Central African Republic, initially led by the African Union, with French military support, in an effort to stabilize the poverty-stricken nation of 4.5 million people.
Unidentified gunmen shot and killed a U.S. teacher yesterday in an international school in Benghazi, Libya.
American actor Paul Walker of the Fast and Furious franchise was one of 2 people killed Saturday in a car accident after attending a charity event in Santa Clarita, California.
French artist Laure Prouvost won the 2012 Turner Prize Monday for a video installation set in a mock tea party. Okay.
The European Commission Wednesday fined 6 banks $2.3 billion for forming illegal cartels to rig interest rates.
So that means somebody goes without coffee tomorrow morning.
You know, I don't understand where the jail sentences. So they steal...
Didn't that guy that was rigging the LIBOR over in England?
Oh, he was an underling. He was doing what he was told to do.
Didn't they toss him away and throw away the key?
Yeah, they threw him under the bus so that the guys that actually told him to do it don't have to do any time or pay any fines.
You know, they steal $1 trillion, we fine them $10 billion. That kind of thing. You know?
Right. Pox on all their houses. The wreckage of an LAM Mozambique Airlines Flight 470 that went missing last Friday was found in Namibia in the Bwambwata National Park on Saturday, with all 33 people on board having died.
At least 4 people are dead following a Metro North Railroad train derailment Sunday in the Bronx, New York City.
Scary. I've been on those trains.
Sure.
A clothing factory fire Sunday in Prato, Italy, killed at least 5 people.
A major winter storm called Bodil hit the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Germany yesterday. The storm disrupted traffic, with 4 people dead or missing, and widespread damage amid fears of flooding along the North Sea coast.
When did they start naming winter storms? Bodil?
Well, don't you think that the weather is like getting a little bit hystericalized? Like, I was hearing on
the
news
pretty
today.
bad. I mean,
it's really bad in Colorado. They're going to get like 6 inches of snow, and it's going to be below freezing for the next week.
Mr. Bill.
Yeah, it's like, isn't that normal for this time of year out in
Colorado?
Yeah, it is.
But what they're talking about, and I think for the most part, when they start getting a little bit, is the fact that some of these storms are so vast. There's one that's coming our way right now that immediately, at this moment, stretches from the southern Texas all the way up to Ohio. That is a very large storm. That would give someone pause.
Well, that's worth a name.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't know, but I'd never heard them name winter storms before. That's a new one on me. Anyway,
it's always been a big story. Weather's always been a big story.
Weather is,
and it's going to get bigger and storier.
Yeah.
So anyway, the death toll in the Philippines from Typhoon Haiyan was confirmed Monday to be more than 5,700.
That's less than they had
originally anticipated.
But so many.
And there's still a lot of digging to do. I don't think that count is done yet.
Because they were saying at least 10,000.
At one point they were. They were saying it could be as much as 10,000, because at that point they had no idea what was going on. I mean, the place was decimated. It was just done.
Yeah.
So.
A 5-story building under construction collapsed Monday in the Brazilian city of Guarulhos, with no casualties reported.
At
must
least
not have
one.
studied his
I'm sorry.
calculus, that architect must not have studied
Yeah, well,
his
they also had some
calculus.
problems with in Brazil with one of the stadiums that is supposed to host the
For the
World
soccer?
Cup
For the
next
World
year.
Cup? Mhm.
So they got some issues to deal with there for sure.
It's more likely the builders cutting corners with materials
probably.
than
Probably.
with the architects. Just saying, you know.
At least one person was killed, one missing, and thousands evacuated on Wednesday as floods hit Malaysia, with the state of Johor, Pahang, and Terengganu worst affected.
And on that bright note, we're going to take a break. We're going to go to Gregory Crawford's weekly rant where he talks about global warming. And then we're going to come right back. So join us.
Hi, I'm Greg Crawford with the Friday News Dump, brought to you by World News Trust. Global warming, climate change, or whatever other euphemism you care to use when describing the phenomenon, is real. And it's happening even as we speak. Just to refresh your memory, global warming is all about averages. Temperatures are measured daily at different points all over the planet, from the poles to the equator and everywhere in between. These daily temperature readings are added up for, say, a month and then averaged, just like you learned to do in the 7th grade. The combined temperature readings are divided by 28, 30, or 31, depending on the month in question, and that gives you an average for that month. Those averages are then plotted to reveal patterns. These patterns show distinct rises in temperature over a given period of time. Scientists have been doing this ever since there have been thermometers, so they've got a lot of plot points from which to draw their conclusions. And the universal conclusion is the planet is warming. This is cold, hard, irrefutable fact, not hypothesis or even theory. Pathological liars like Senator James Inhofe, the malevolent trolls at Fox News, and the rest of the brain-dead idiots that try to deny the existence of global warming are all spewing their malicious lies in service to unspeakably evil corporate psychopaths, like the Koch brothers, who don't want to acknowledge the phenomenon because they are dead set against relinquishing so much as a penny of their trillions of dollars in ill-gotten profits to address a crisis of truly monumental proportions. A crisis that is largely their fault. Now, while it is true we all bear some responsibility, we all drive cars, heat our homes, and mow our lawns, the vast majority of us believe we should be putting far more effort into transitioning from fossil fuels to energy sources that don't exacerbate a problem that could result in the end of life as we know it. But the aforementioned corporate psychopaths, most especially those running oil, gas, or coal companies, would gut their grannies from groin to gizzard just to pack a few pennies onto their bottom line. Condemning half the planet to destruction? Just another day at the office. But what if they are condemning the whole planet to destruction and assuring the end of life, period? Scoff all you want, sunshine. Another mass extinction is not some science fiction fantasy. It's happened at least 5 times before, and each time it was triggered by the release of a greenhouse gas far more dangerous than carbon dioxide by several orders of magnitude. And what gas might that be? Methane. And we're not talking about dinosaur farts back in the day or cow farts now. Hell, everybody experiences flatulence. It comes with being a mammal. Except Shih Tzus. Those little dogs never fart. No, I am not kidding. I live and sleep with 2 of them. They're cuddlers, and if one of them floated an air biscuit, I'd know about it, believe me. Whatever, got off on a tangent there, but back to business. Oil wells, natural gas extraction facilities, and coal-fired power plants release thousands of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere every single day. They also release copious amounts of methane. And, as I mentioned a moment ago, internal combustion engines pump carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide into the atmosphere at tremendous rates. All this contributes to a forming of a gaseous blanket in the ozone layer that surrounds the Earth, preventing heat from escaping into space. If the heat can't escape the atmosphere, that means that with every seasonal cycle, when summer arrives, it starts from a slightly warmer point. For this reason, the warming trend is accelerating at an exponential rate. This is bad, but it gets worse. Much, much worse. Methane is formed when organic matter decomposes. The Earth harbors trillions of tons of methane trapped in various forms like methane hydrate and methane clathrate crystals suspended in the frozen tundra and under the continental shelf of virtually every landmass on Earth. So you might ask, if it's trapped, why worry about it? Here's why. The ever-increasing rate of global warming makes lakes form in depressions on the surface of glaciers all over the planet, but the scariest scenario affects the glaciers in Antarctica and Greenland. The Arctic ice sheet is already in the water, so though its accelerated melting is bad, it will not affect water levels in the oceans. But Antarctica and Greenland are different stories. They both have ice sheets covering tens of thousands of square miles that are up to 6 or 7 miles thick in Antarctica and up to something north of a mile thick in Greenland. The formation of these lakes melts still more ice beneath them, and when the glacier forms cracks, as they always do, these lakes rush to the bottom of the glaciers, lubricating the surface beneath them to accelerate the movement of the glacier towards the sea. When, not if, gargantuan chunks of these glaciers calve, it'll be like dropping a bowling ball in a bathtub. Very messy. And the attendant rise in sea levels will make for soggy sandals, not just in the Maldives or other low-lying islands that are already under the threat of inundation, but lower Manhattan, the Jersey Shore, and all of America's coastal regions. Not a good day at the beach, because all of a sudden, there ain't gonna be no beach. So you popping your Prozac yet? Well, you better grab a fistful, because here comes the fun part. All this warming will have a detrimental effect on the previously frozen and contained methane reserves. It will release them. It won't happen all at once, but then it doesn't have to. Even though methane eventually converts to CO2, Earth's flora and fauna will not have time to adapt to the sudden increase in methane levels. The additional methane will beget even faster warming, which releases even more methane, and so on. And the end game could mean the extermination of as much as 90% of life on the planet, and that includes us. Sound like fun to you? Me neither. This ain't no joke, nor is it something that might happen long after we're all dead and gone. No, this is as serious as a heart attack, and we will very likely witness planet-wide cataclysmic disasters within our lifetimes, unless we do something now. Do what, you say? Do this. Write or call your representative, your senators, the president, and every CEO you can think of. Tell them to get off the pot and institute the policies necessary to ameliorate the effects of their greed and negligence. We're well past the point where we had any hope of stopping it. If they hear from enough of us, they will act, but not until. Corporate CEOs are already trying to block any action that might curtail their rapacious depredations. Remember the Trans-Pacific Partnership? But if they don't like it, jail them and throw away the key. Oh, poor corporate CEOs. Ha! I don't think so. They're willing to kill your children for $1. Are you okay with that? I didn't think so. It's later than you think. Way later.
And we're back. This is the Friday News Dump for December 6, 2013. My name is Francis Goodwin. This is my partner, Greg Crawford, and my other partner, Deborah Goodwin, behind the camera.
He likes her better.
Oh, way better. Thanks for joining us. Well, she's more likable, man.
I don't know.
I try to be cuddly, but I just can't pull it off.
Your dog's like
you guys, I mean, really.
60 people became ill and 15 others required treatment for smoke inhalation Wednesday when a BART train made an emergency stop in the Berkeley Hills Tunnel in Oakland, California.
A bar train?
BART.
Oh, I thought the
Bay Area
rapid
transit.
Yeah.
Do they have bar cars? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think they do.
But the Metro North in
Metro North does.
which is part of why the guy. Well, not really. I don't know.
Well, that's
yeah.
Apparently he was napping.
He just nodded off, they think.
Yeah, and he was going way fast. Pope Francis met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the Vatican on Monday to discuss global affairs, including the nuclear program of Iran.
Why? Why would the Pope and BB.
It's all a show. BB is trying to.
It's ridiculous.
BB's been running his mouth too much and
You're
exposing
right.
himself
Is the Pope going to shut him up? No.
For the psychopath that he really is. And so that if he goes and he talks to the Pope, everybody thinks, oh, BB's not so bad after all. Maybe he's just not he's not the murderous thug we all thought he was. No.
Right.
Good luck with that.
Right. Well, the Pope is hot these days.
Oh, the Pope is way hot.
Pope Francis, babe. He's hot because he's like,
he goes out and he
dared
ministers
to say
to the
something
poor.
Slightly tolerant about, gay
about the poor
people
and
that,
gay people.
Well, maybe
and saying
we really
rapacious
shouldn't be
corporatism might not be the best way to go about things.
The priests really shouldn't be molesting little boys. We'll have a commission on that. Before this Pope, nobody would admit that it was happening, pretty much.
I know. Everybody in the world knew. It was just ha ha.
Right. So the Pope is in. He's hot. He's hot right now.
That's good. Thanks for the
word. He's way cool, and
the word on the street.
I'm not even a Catholic.
So BB's trying to get that.
He's trying to
that Pope
repair
aura.
His image. He's trying to repair
aura.
his image and see if he can rub up against the Pope, and maybe some of it'll he'll get this little thing going. Yeah.
Get the halo. Okay. Australia and South Korea announced yesterday that they've successfully negotiated a free trade agreement.
Australia and South Korea?
Yep.
U.S. Vice President Joe Biden yesterday criticized the People's Republic of China for a recent crackdown of foreign journalists in the country.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Did we just talk about that?
Well, that was the Pope. This is Kerry. He's not quite the Pope. He's trying, but he's not quite there.
Yesterday in Jerusalem to talk about many topics, including the nuclear program of Iran.
Myanmar's Thein Sein and the Philippines' Benigno Aquino III linked trade agreements yesterday, including agreements involving renewable energy, mass media, and visa-free travel.
Former medical technician David Kowalski was sentenced Monday in New Hampshire's U.S. District Court to 39 years in prison. He infected an unknown numbers of patients in various states with hepatitis C through the reuse of contaminated syringes.
Because he was stealing their drugs and booting them. So he could go, oh yeah, man, you're getting off. And he's basically a complete psychopath who had no regard for the harm he was doing, and being a medical professional, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Fake giving the patients.
No, he was using his syringes, or the syringes that were supposed to be used for the patients. He was using them on himself and then using them on the patients rather than using.
Why?
Because he's an asshole. Pretty much settles that.
Well, he deserves it then, I guess.
Russian ballet dancer Pavel Dmitrichenko was convicted on Tuesday of organizing an acid attack on the artistic director of the Bolshoi Theater.
I read about this story a year
Speaking of
ago. It's a
assholes.
very strange and convoluted and dramatic story worthy of the Bolshoi Ballet.
Oh yeah, I mean, but it's strange people.
Yeah.
Here's a story that I don't know what to think of. A leaked French report on the cause of Yasser Arafat's death says he died of an infection. A Swiss inquiry had said polonium poisoning was most likely.
So he was infected with polonium. Who knows? I mean, nobody's ever going to tell you the truth on something like that, because everybody's got a vested interest.
He had to die of something.
Well,
are they trying to say that he was murdered? Or?
Well, he was very likely murdered. I mean, come on. I mean, look at who he was and where he was. And somebody somewhere didn't,
Well, and everyone, if you follow that line of story, it was Israel that poisoned him.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I mean, Israel has become what it most loathes in the world, unfortunately. But okay. Oh! I disagreed with Israeli foreign policy. That makes me an anti-Semitic.
That's taboo, Greg.
Dear.
Come on, man.
Blow it out your shorts, you guys.
Now.
Indonesia jailed 14 Rohingya asylum seekers yesterday for their role in a deadly brawl in a North Sumatra detention center that claimed 8 lives.
Pope Francis yesterday gave his assent to the creation of a permanent expert member pontifical commission to advise the Catholic Church on how to deal with sex abuse of minors by those in church ministries.
Just what I was talking about.
Voters in Croatia Sunday voted 65% in favor of a referendum proposal to outlaw same-sex marriage.
I don't get what the big deal is about the same-sex marriage. I just don't get it.
Well, it's people that said, "Oh, if you love him and you're a him too, then that destroys my marriage." And I said, I don't think so. No.
It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It's just people that crave dominion over the lives of others, and when something doesn't go their way, then they have a hissy fit. So,
anyway.
The Prime Minister of Somalia was voted out of office Monday by the Federal Parliament of Somalia in a vote of 184 to 65.
Xavier Bettel Wednesday became the first openly gay Prime Minister in Luxembourg and the third openly gay Prime Minister in Europe. The country's first government without participation of the Christian Social Party since 1979 took office on Wednesday. Bettel's deputy Etienne Schneider is also openly gay, making Luxembourg the first gayest country in the world, with two high-ranking leaders of government being of an alternative persuasion. Good for you guys.
I just imagine they're all prancing around in ermine capes.
Oh, no, kinky boots.
Kinky boots, I guess. Good for them. And you were saying that it's the richest country.
I believe so. If it's not it's among
up there.
the
They
wealthiest
do pretty
nations
good.
of the world with a per capita income of like $250,000 a year. Or
And
something.
you can run across Luxembourg, without
yeah,
breaking a sweat.
Yeah, it's a couple acres. It's a few acres in size, and
acres,
and the
wow.
fact that their the two top leaders are gay, it doesn't seem to be a coincidence. I don't know. Comet Ison broke up into a cloud of debris Sunday after skimming the sun.
No, who didn't think that was going to happen? I mean, my God, you come less than 750,000 miles within the surface of the sun, you're going to get cooked. So, there you go.
Yeah, I think of a marshmallow getting. Yeah.
So if they ever stop raining death from the sky on the civilians in wherever stand, those newly unemployed gamers who graduated to splattering real gore with a remote control can go to work for Jeff Bezos, the founder and CEO of Amazon.com. In an interview on 60 Minutes, Mr. Bezos revealed that Amazon is developing plans to deploy drones with hovering capability to drop 5-pound packages right in your driveway. He calls it Prime Air.
Really?
Did a really creepy chill just run up your spine?
Yes, it did.
Bezos claims that the technology necessary to keep the drones from dropping stuff on your head is only about 4 or 5 years away. Oh, goody.
Wow. I thought he was one of the good guys for a while there, but then he got...
Well, he's just
he
making
one
use
the
of the
bad guys.
technology. He's just making use of the technology. I don't think they're going to be armed, but let's hope not anyway.
It's going to be like in about 25 years, like overhead is just going to be drones zipping about. There's going to be drones for this, drones for that. Your surveillance drones, your
Stop and frisk drones. I mean, what are they
gardening
going to
drones. You're going to have, whatever.
No,
It's going to, be drone-ish.
be droning on and on.
do? Funny, it don't look drone-ish.
Researchers at the Sanford Burnham Medical Research Institute say they found a link between Parkinson's disease and the agricultural pesticides of paraquat and maneb.
Paraquat was what they spread all over pot
Marijuana.
plants in Mexico back in the 70s. So, haha.
Well, and all over
everything.
Vietnam back as they defoliated the whole country.
Well, I think that was Agent Orange, but
oh, you're right.
yeah.
You're right.
Which was made by our buddies Monsanto,
Monsanto,
who brought you Roundup and every other poison under the sun, and who wants to control our food supply from seed to supper. But anyway, and from our Life Imitates Art department, Chuck Lorre, the producer of the hugely popular CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory, might want to demand a piece of the action from Double Robotics, a company that is marketing a device that looks like an iPad with a broomstick up its ass mounted on a self-propelled mini Segway. Wait a minute. It is an iPad with a broomstick up its ass mounted on a self-propelled mini Segway. It was demonstrated by Stephen Colbert on Comedy Central's The Colbert Report on Tuesday, December 3rd, to the amusement of all as it fell over. You see, on an episode of Big Bang that aired a couple of years ago, Dr. Sheldon Cooper decided to retreat to the safety of his bedroom and only interact with the outside world through a mobile device that he controlled from his laptop. The device allowed him to see people through a camera on the monitor with a broomstick up its ass mounted on a self-propelled carpet sweeper. The monitor displayed his image in real time from the camera on his laptop. This is exactly what Double Robotics' device does. So there's some fresh meat on a broomstick for Lori's lawyers.
I'm not really sure I fully understood that.
Wait, so this is something they came up with on the Big Bang Theory that this
The Big Bang Theory had it as part of a plot for one of their episodes a couple of years ago because I don't know if you've ever seen the show, but
I haven't, but the girls watched it.
It is the funniest sitcom on TV, hands down.
Very funny.
I love it.
I do know what Dr. Sheldon looks like.
Yes. Anyway, Dr. Cooper, has this phobia about everything, germs and whatever else. And he decided he would be safer in his bedroom and he would just send this little drone out and go to work with him and stuff like that.
Drones
and a carpet sweeper. But anyway, then comes along this little thing that is real. I mean, these people are really marketing this thing so that you can have a presence at work even when you are working from home. And it's when you stop and think about it for about a half a second, it's really stupid. But, just because you've got that technology doesn't mean you should use it. There's certain things that just, no, you want to pass on that one, buddy. But anyway, that's the deal.
Wow.
I see.
So there.
Scientists said Tuesday that they've unearthed an extremely well-preserved baby Chasmosaurus dinosaur fossil in Alberta, Canada. Now, this looks like a rhinoceros with a frill.
So it's like Triceratops.
Yeah, it is. It's like kind of like a Triceratops, except that it's got a little, like two frills or something, a little opening in it. There you have it. And they found a little
Chasmosaurus. That's a new one on me.
New dinosaur.
And they found another new dinosaur recently in a coal mine. It's a totally new genus. They had to, oh boy, we got a new name. We got all kinds of stuff we can name now. So that's pretty interesting. 5 adults and 1 teenager are being treated this evening at a Pachuca, Mexico hospital for possible radiation poisoning. All 6 apparently came into contact with cobalt-60 about 12 hours after the truck containing radioactive material and medical equipment was stolen on Monday from Tepojaco. All 6 are in stable condition at Pachuca General Hospital. Mexican authorities say they've recovered all of the radioactive material, though it isn't clear whether they've also found those who stole it. The missing vehicle, along with most of the missing radioactive element used for medical purposes, was located in a remote area about 25 miles from where it was taken, which was in a gas station in Tijuana.
China Sunday launched its first mission to the moon's surface. The unmanned, is that Chang or Chang'e?
Chang'e.
Chang'e? Chang'e 3 probe includes a robotic lander and a rover known as the Jade Rabbit.
Now, the Jade Rabbit was also, by ancient Chinese legend, was supposed to live on the moon. So there is a particular...
That's cool.
So it's a fairy tale thing,
That's
or
cool.
a mythical thing. Yeah.
That's neat.
The probe entered a 62-mile-high circular lunar orbit today after 6 minutes of variable thrust engine braking.
It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Mighty Mouse! Actually, if you were living on Guam, you could have seen dead mice falling from the sky. Since shortly after World War II, the tiny Pacific island of Guam has been infested with brown tree snakes. There may be as many as 2 million of the slithery little buggers. Well, really, actually, they're not so little. They grow to be 10 feet long and are venomous.
No.
Though not deadly to humans, the snakes have decimated local fauna, and 2 million of anything on an island that small gets crowded in a hurry. The aforementioned dead mice are laced with acetaminophen, a common painkiller that is toxic to these snakes when they consume the tasty treat from the sky. But somebody ain't too good at math. There are 2 million snakes, but they only drop 2,000 mice. What about the other 1,998,000 snakes? A miscalculation of that magnitude doesn't make for a very effective eradication program.
Do you think maybe it was a test?
No, they've done it before. They just do a few mice at a time. I mean, it's just how many dead mice can they fit in a Piper Cub? Who knows?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yuck!
Oh,
Okay. On that wonderful note, thanks for joining us. This has been the Friday News Dump for December 6th, 2013. This is Gregory Crawford. That's Deborah Goodwin. I'm Francis Goodwin. Join us next week. Thanks.